Hakikisha umekaa ange ili usipitwe na mizunguko viwanjani. Jukumu letu tukiwa kituo kinachoongoza. Tutaendelea kukuletea taarifa uliko na kukujuza chochote unachostahiki.
Leo kuna kuja mzozo wa kuwa ati soko si letu. Naona maajabu mimi. Tulijengewa soko kitambo. Sisi tukajengewa choo, tukawekewa taa. Vipi wewe bwenyenye anatoka wapi? Mimi naomba hapa sokoni sitatoka na sitatoka tena sana.
This is KTN News.
Welcome back now to business news. The Kwale Sugar Company Limited has won a case against the state after a judge ordered the release of sugar whose samples are compliant with the required standards. The ruling follows an application by Kiscol, which sought to have the sugar released to the market for sale. The court ordered the Kenya Bureau of Standards to release 3,700 tons of sugar seized from Kiscol after it was declared fit for human consumption.
The sugar that was compliant after the test done on 1st October 2018, and which by consent, which is in the report that we filed before you, my Lord, meets all the requirements, be released for sale as communicated by the first respondent. KEBS has said that the sugar be released in their communication. Yet that sugar continues to be held as well. My Lord, the report of 18th October 2018 states in the first recommendation that that sugar be released for purposes of sale.
Now, Kenya is the largest economy in sub-Saharan Africa, with over 60% of Kenyans living below the poverty line, with a rapid increase in inflation, which would reduce economic growth. Food nutrition and safety stands as a key concern in Kenya. On our continued focus on matters food security, Julia Owino takes a look at the issues surrounding food nutrition in the country.
Food in Kenya has become a resting place for heavy metals, pesticides, and antibiotics. This has greatly been contributed with a lot of dry food being sold at the open-air markets, leading to it being contaminated. It is as a result of this reason that various traders are seeking the government's help in terms of building and revamping of the markets. On the other end, Kenya has faced crisis with the food price dilemma. It has been frequently identified as a major distraction to smallholder productivity growth and food security. Structures and policies are also one of the key things identified as a major contributor to the current situation.
Biosafety Authority mainly, which is one of the agencies created by the Biosafety Act, it only looks at the genetically modified foods, but there should be a concerted effort, an authority that looks at food safety in general, whether the food is in the market, the way we have discussed, or this in the open market. That is still a weak area. And also we have what we call Kenya Gap. Kenya Gap is Kenya Gap ensures that the production, food safety starts from production up to processing, up to the table.
In Kenya, 30% of food consumed in rural households is purchased, while 70% is derived from own production. Lack of awareness in serving in this industry has also been identified as one of the key contributors to the challenges experienced around food production.
We do have a problem, but there are many, many causes to these problems. In some of those affected, they simply cannot afford the right food to eat. The big gap is actually in awareness of what proper nutrition practices should be, what foods should we eat, which foods should we combine so that the body has adequate nutrients and energy. Because when we look at the level of malnutrition, as you've stated, it is quite high.
Pregnant women, lactating mothers, elderly people fall in the category of persons considered being food insecure. Julie Owino, KTN News.
Now, days after increasing the cost of voice calls, data and SMS, leading communication company Safaricom has launched a new campaign dubbed Nawe Kila Wakati to reinforce the firm's commitment to customers. The initiative will see customers rewarded with a free 1 GB data bundle and a special 1 shilling per minute for voice calls on their birthdays. Now, this news comes as Safaricom celebrates 18 years of being in service.
When I left Safaricom, when I stepped down, and it was 10 years old, I'm giving him my baby, and my baby's going to university, but I was actually wrong. My baby was going to high school, you know, and so now it's going to university, yes. And it's these guys who have to take it forward. So, thank you.
So I think what we want to do today as we come to 18 is to take this moment of celebration, but also couple it with a lot of reflection and begin to ask, what can we as Safaricom begin to do for our customers to really identify with the times that we are facing? Because they are tough economic times. In as much as we are resilient, I think there's a lot more that we can be able to do as a brand to help them to be able to cope with the times that we are going through. And that is why today we have made a couple of announcements. Number one, we spoke about the fact that we changed the rates on our data bundles, right, and brought them lower so that our customers could be able to get more access to credit. Even in terms of the tax, when the tax was increased on voice and data services, we made a decision as a company that we were not going to increase the data bundle rates.
Now, Kenyan women have heavily invested in the growth of entrepreneurship, and in light of that, an eye has been raised on the state of women in business globally. For the first time in Kenya and Africa, the Organization of Women in International Trade is holding a conference to empower women in business globally. The forum will be a platform for women to access networks globally and have knowledge to build the capacity of expanding their businesses globally. The organization has partnered up with other trade stakeholders like the Export Promotion Council to develop strategies to empower women to gain more ground in business globally.
Let me talk about yet another market, the UN itself. I work for the UN, United Nations.
In the conference today, we have Export Promotion Council, we have UN Women. So we're working with, we have ITC, very many partners to see how can we ensure more women have access to the information they need to be able to go global, access to the markets they need to be able to go global, and more importantly, access to building capacity internally. A lot of times when we think of going global, it seems like a terrifying thing, that how on earth am I going to go global? What are the steps? So I think it's a mind shift. It's understanding that there are extreme opportunities that exist when we take our businesses global. So the first thing you need to do is shift in your mind.
You also need the support of the local network as well. So you need a local and an international network. You need a lot of strength.